Good day, everyone. Welcome to Real Conservative News. I'm your host, Nathaniel Rajkumar. Starting off locally here in Trinidad and Tobago, Public Utilities Minister Barry Padarath is defending his decision to photograph a parliament staff member. The incident happened on Friday during a government meeting and caused a massive fight between political parties. Padarath claims the parliament's sound workers, audio technicians, are biased, and most likely they are people. We've been hearing about these complaints for years upon years, even when UNC was in opposition. He says they intentionally muted the microphones of government ministers while keeping opposition mics turned on. Now, of course, the video footage should be able to verify these claims. It must be able to verify these claims, and if so, then those individuals need to be held accountable for their actions. He took the photo only to identify the worker for an official review, not to scare anyone. Yeah, but the approach is how you went about handling the situation is what was wrong, Padarath. He also claims the opposition is using this fight to distract the public from racist comments made by one of their own members. And of course, he's talking about Kareem Marcel, and definitely it was racist. It was inappropriate. It was divisive, even if it was just at the political level, because therefore what they're trying to tell people, when you go back into government, you are not going to serve the UNC people in this country because they don't like you and you don't like them. PNM people don't like UNC people either from a political perspective, and yet I always tell the UNC government, you need to serve all the peoples of Trinidad and Tobago, whether PNM or UNC. The opposition party is furious and calls his actions workplace harassment. They are correct about that, though. He went about doing it the wrong way. They're hypocrites, though, but they are going about it doing the wrong way. Or he went about doing it the wrong way. They want the police to investigate the incident and are demanding that Padarath be removed from his leadership role. I think Kamala should have done that a long time now. Padarath is making too many errors, just like Roger Alexander and even John Jeremy. But then Kamala needs to remove herself as well because she's making far too many errors now, too. They also want Parliament security video saved as evidence. I approve of that too because it will verify if Padarath's claims and Kamala's claims are correct. So you all might be just kind of working against your own selves right now, PNM. And that's what they do all the time when you take it. However, the Prime Minister is fully supporting Padarath. She calls opposition's claims complaints nonsense, and says government microphones have been unfairly muted for years. Of course, she's talking about the UNC, not the government. But she has been only in government for 1 year, unless she's talking about in the past as well, back in 2010 to 2015. Legal experts warn that targeting neutral staff members hurts the independence of the parliament. Or living in a fantasy world if you really believe that a lot of those staff members are neutral. We see it online all the time, even with normal government workers in various ministries. They spew extremely divisive and inappropriate types of PNM rhetoric right online. And when you do check their profiles, they're working in various ministries. So you can miss us with that, PNM and all the experts. My response, your actions were inappropriate, Padarath, but for some reason you believe the UNC's reign of autocracy will last forever. And that's why you and your Prime Minister, Queen Kams, continues to act in such an arrogant manner. What you did was wrong. What you should have done, Padarath, is wait until the session was over, and then you go and you approach the individual in a discreet way and explain to them, listen, I'm very concerned of what is taking place right now. Why it is our mics are being muted, and yet we are still hearing the opposition members speaking over their mics. We are hearing the sound, we are hearing the background sound or whatever. So we know that their mics are on. So the person says, whoa, well, sir, this is just standard procedure. So it was a standard procedure to leave their mics on when all mics should be muted. That is what you should have done. And then get their information. And if it really is necessary to take a photo, which I can't see how that it is possible. Once you get a person's name and so forth, that should be sufficient to be able to make a complaint. But even if you need to take a photo, you do it in a discreet way, not in this bacchanal way. I went on to say the matter should have been addressed after the meeting in a professional and discreet manner. Kareem's statement, however, was abusive, tribal, and despicable, even at a political level, people. But I don't think it was just political. I really do believe that he meant that Indos don't like Afros and Afros don't like Indos. And that's why he said, well, and so we don't like them either. Because he made it about race. He could have left it at the political level, but he did that, right? So Kareem's statement was divisive, tribal, and despicable, but how on earth can you consider it to be seditious, Padarath? Because that is what he went on to say, if it is, I'm not mistaken. You listen to the video. He said that the person who should be actually investigated is Kareem, because his statement was seditious. I didn't see anything seditious. It was wrong, yes, but seditious, though. I went on to ask, when did he attempt to incite violence against government members or the state? Padarath, can you explain that to us? What part of the statement was seditious? But I'm telling you, anybody that opposing the government now is accused of being seditious or divisive or different type of terms that agitators. That is what I was trying to remember. They're accused of being agitators. I went on to say Kamala's inner circle are destroying both the UNC and our party, our country, a little more each day. We rejoiced when the UNC won. I really did rejoice. I was so happy that night because they promised good governance, but instead we're being treated like common criminals when we seek accountability, transparency, and justice. People like myself, most of my videos, you all can go back. Most of my news reports from since last year was in support of the UNC. So I'm not no PNM. Rest assured that God cannot be intimidated or investigated by the corrupt TTPS, my dear Kamala Prasad, Bissessa, Padarath, and your team, Roger Alexander, and so forth. They can't investigate God. He will hold all of you accountable for your actions.
Politics is not a tea party. The war is on, and the UNC will not roll over and play dead. No. We have endured this for far too long, and we are drawing attention to what has been happening inside and outside of Parliament and the biasness that continues to occur.
Minister, the PNM have suggested that a criminal probe be started against you. How do you feel about that?
I want to suggest that a criminal probe be brought against one Kareem Marcel, because we have to raise the issue of whether or not those comments were seditious. So I have no intention of being a scapegoat or distraction for the PNM and their machinations. But I want to tell you before I go into Parliament, stay tuned. The Honourable Prime Minister will make a statement in the House, and you will be very interested in what she has to say today.
Before you leave, why did you take a photo of allegedly take a photo of the staff of Parliament?
Usually what happens is that when you take these matters to the Broadcasting Committee or to any other committee of Parliament, we are told that we have to be able to identify who the persons are, what challenges, or who these persons, the allegations are being made against. And the only way that we can identify them, because we don't know the staff of the Parliament. So it was never meant to be any sort of intimidatory tactic. It was meant just to identify where the possible challenges are. So when we go to the Broadcasting Committee, we can say, well, these are the technicians, these are the persons who were muting the mics at that point in time. So it had nothing to do with intimidation, but as I said to you, I will not be a scapegoat for the People's National Movement and their machinations. Today, they must come and account and answer to the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
Finance Minister Devendranath Tanku has assured nurses, teachers, and other public sector workers still waiting the conclusion of salary negotiations that financial relief is on the way. However, the necessary monetary allocation will be made in the 2026-2027 budget package. Hopefully that means they will at least get it for Christmas. Same way how the PSA public servants could have been able to get part of the package. So Christmas, try and see if you can give all these people and them all the money for Christmas now. You have a whole lot more time. It's not like you just won the elections anymore. Piloting the motion for the House of Representatives to adopt the report of the Standing Finance Committee yesterday morning, Tanku said provisions for outstanding wage settlements will be included in the 2027 budget. Ongoing negotiations and calculations are completed. The finance minister also painted a relatively optimistic picture of the country's fiscal performance, revealing that stronger than anticipated energy prices and improved revenue collection measures were expected to boost government income during the remainder of the fiscal year. The 2026 budget was based on an average oil price of US $73.25 per barrel and natural gas prices of US $4.25 per MMBTU. However, government now expects oil prices to average approximately $85 per barrel and natural gas prices around $4.50 per MMBTU by the end of the fiscal year. A result, Tanku said total revenue is projected to increase by approximately $381.7 million. Now that's good news. Think about it. As you remember, Trump come with his crazy new deal with Iran, and therefore the Strait of Hormuz is back open for how long we don't know. Trump getting fooled by Iran, of course. That's a whole different discussion. That will be in the international section. But the whole point is, so when the Strait of Hormuz is open, don't you think that the oil prices will go back down and you take it? But having said that, you see, this is once again another example of how the UNC manages the affairs of Trinidad and Tobago, the finances of Trinidad and Tobago much better than the PNM. All of a sudden now, the economy is beginning to recover. PNM, of course, will take praise for it and say, but we set the country on this path of recovery. Well, you all had 10 years and it was going downhill all the time. It was declining. It was being destroyed. The energy sector was being destroyed. The country was falling apart. But the problem is, as I keep saying over and over again, in spite of this good news, the controversial things that are taking place under the UNC overshadows all this good, and people have lost trust in the leaders of this government.
Weather report for Trinidad and Tobago on Tuesday, June 16, 2026. The weather in Trinidad and Tobago on Tuesday, June 16, 2026 will be partly cloudy with intervals of showers and a 30% to 65% chance of isolated afternoon heavy showers or thunderstorm activity. According to the Trinidad and Tobago Meteorological Service, maximum daytime temperatures are expected to reach 30 degrees Celsius in Piarco, Trinidad, and 31 degrees Celsius in Crown Point, Tobago, with nighttime lows dropping to around 24 degrees Celsius to 25 degrees Celsius. Gusty winds and localized street or flash flooding may occur during heavy downpours or thunderstorm spells. Winds will primarily blow from the east to east-southeast at 8 to 20 miles per hour. Open waters remain moderate with wave heights ranging from 2.0 to 2.5 meters, while sheltered areas stay below 1.0 meter but can become occasionally choppy near sudden showers. A mild concentration of Saharan dust remains present in the air, so sensitive individuals should take the necessary precautions.
Regional news now. Minister of Education Sonia Parag on Sunday announced that parents and pupils awaiting the outcome of this year's National Grade 6 assessment can expect the results to be released on July 10th. In a video message posted on the ministry's social media pages, Parag said the Ministry of Education in Guyana had recently received confirmation of the release date and wanted to provide clarity to parents and pupils who have been anxiously awaiting the results. Good luck to all the students. I wish all of you the best in the receiving of your results. Blessings in Jesus' name. A new department has been established within the Ministry of Health and Wellness in Jamaica to independently investigate complaints about service quality and other challenges within the public health system. Portfolio Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton made the disclosure while addressing the official opening of the Carol Picard Courtyard at the Victoria Jubilee Hospital, downtown Kingston, on June 10th. He said that reports generated by the unit will be submitted to his office along with the permanent secretary, with recommendations set to regional boards for action. Good performance will be recognized, while shortcomings will require corrective measures, he pointed out. The department is part of measures being undertaken to identify weaknesses in healthcare delivery and implement the necessary corrective actions. The issues that have been raising from Jamaica when it pertains to healthcare, deeply concerning, but at least it's being addressed by the Andrew Holness administration. World Pediatrics has completed another dual specialty surgical mission to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Last week, a team of 8 neurosurgeons and craniofacial specialists assessed 35 children from 6 Eastern Caribbean countries, including St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Team led for neurosurgery, Dr. Gary Tai, performed 8 successful surgeries at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. Dr. Jennifer Rhodes, pediatric plastic surgeon and lead of the craniofacial team, performed 13 surgeries during the mission. The mission was supported by local doctors, nurses, and other healthcare professionals who worked alongside the visiting specialists to provide care for children with complex medical conditions. Wonderful news coming out from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. International news. Now, President Trump is attending a bilateral meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron ahead of the broader G7 summit in France. Well, of course, that meeting, I think, took place yesterday. Telling you, Trump is really now under the spirit of the Antichrist at such a great level. Speaking with the media, Macron praised Trump's peace deal with Iran. Yes, of course, because you are also under the influence of the Antichrist. Saying France is ready to take our fair share of the burden and be part of the commitment of the international community. Yeah, right. Trump touted plummeting oil prices, and that's all he cares about right now. Oil, and money. Adding that the Strait of Hormuz will be fully open in the coming days. My response, Trump betrayed Israel and millions of Iranians in order to give the world the false impression that he's a peacemaker. It's his pride, people. All he cares about is being considered a peacemaker and making the world prosperous again. It's all about Trump. He loves himself so much that he allowed the Antichrist spirit to take control of him. The IRGC and the Ayatollah terrorists will continue to use millions of dollars or billions of dollars and all to fund terrorist groups like Hezbollah, Hamas, and Houthis while pretending to abide by King Trump's weak terms and conditions. The worst deal ever under the Trump administration.
Will you be in Geneva on Friday, Mr. President?
Will you meet Zelensky? What action are you expecting from the Europeans? Are you happy with the deal, Mr. Trump?
A senior U.S. official stated that Israel has a clear right to defend itself if Iran cannot control Hezbollah. Oh, thanks, America. It's not like Israel didn't know that before, eh? We need all the permission. Well, they need your permission. Under the recent U.S.-Iran agreement, a ceasefire must hold across all regional fronts for Iran to receive benefits from sanctions. Really, if you all really believe Hezbollah are going to actually obey those commands, this means that if Hezbollah continues to launch rocket drones or at northern Israeli towns, the agreement will not stop Israel from striking back. Heady wording, stop. Telling you, Trump believes he's king of Israel. This warning highlights how fragile the current peace deal is. Many Israeli leaders remain skeptical of the agreement and argue that Israel must protect its own borders regardless of international deals. Exactly. Trump, you cannot stop Israel from defending themselves. By making Iran directly responsible for Hezbollah's actions, the U.S. is warning Tehran that any proxy attacks will ruin the deal and trigger a swift military response from Israel. Yeah, but I think about it. Iran will say, well, but we can't actually stop Hezbollah. The most we can advise them to do is to stop. When, in fact, behind closed doors, they're the ones encouraging them and funding them. All a great deception that is taking place. My response, neither Trump nor anyone else needs to tell Israel that they have the right to defend themselves. We are fed up of you all saying that, people. Oh, Israel has a right to defend themselves. They know that. You're not the king of Israel, and your officials are not, don't have any control or power over Israel. God is going to hold America accountable for how they are turning their backs on Israel, even on the conservative side. It's so sad to see what is taking place. What we all know, this had to be fulfilled in these end times, because during the Ezekiel war, no one will come to Israel's aid. No one will stand up with Israel to fight on their behalf or along with them. And yet God is going to use that as his opportunity to take all the honor and glory for himself. He's going to lure Russia, the kings of the north, Russia and Turkey and Iran. He's going to lure them. He's going to draw them in. He's going to encourage them to come, set them up. It's a trap. And he's going to say, come towards Israel and attack them. Come. And then when they arrive at Israel's borders, he's going to utterly destroy them. And then the world will see the mighty hand, the mighty power of the Lord God Almighty, the King of Israel, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Bible quote of the day. James 1:13-15. When tempted, no one should say, God is tempting me. For God cannot be tempted by evil, nor does he tempt anyone. But each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own evil desire and enticed. Then, after desire has conceived, it gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death.
Folks, that brings us to the end of today's news report. Thanks again to everyone who continues to support my content. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stay blessed and stay safe most of all. In Jesus' name.